Good evening, you're watching 7 at 7, the only news bulletin where I curate the day's top 7 stories for our viewers. I'm Preeti Chaudhary and these are the headlines. Mamta raises Tripura violence during meeting with Prime Minister, says political ideology shouldn't hamper centre-state relations. Cabinet approves proposal to repeal farm laws, new bill to be introduced during winter session beginning November 29th. Big setback to Congress months before polls. Gandhi loyalist and MLA from Rai Bareli, Aditi Singh joins the BJP. Aam Aadmi Party, Samajwadi Party alliance on cards for the upcoming UP polls. Sanjay Singh meets Mulayam and Akhilesh, says they are headed towards a tie-up. Parambir Singh confirms to India Today that he is in Chandigarh. The ex-top cop says he will join investigations in Mumbai soon. Former Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and Shivakumar caught on camera debating whether to display Patel photo at an event remembering Indira. Do so fearing a BJP attack. Shivakumar says no insult to Patel. Crypto prices crash as government plans to introduce the crypto bill during the winter session. It seeks to ban all private cryptocurrencies and will make way for RBI digital currency. All right, viewers, under heightened political tension between the TMC and the BJP in civic poll-bound state of Tripura, Mamta Banerjee today was in the national capital and she met the Prime Minister. Post the meeting, Mamta said she discussed a wide range of issues with him, including the recent violence in Tripura and the BSF jurisdiction disagreement between the states and the centre. The West Bengal Chief Minister also said that while the BJP and TMC differ in ideology, it should not affect centre-state relations.
हमारा स्टेट का बीएसएफ को ज़्यादा पावर देने से ऐसे बीएसएफ हमारा एनिमी नहीं है, हमारा ऐसा कोई एतराज़ नहीं है. आई रेस्पेक्ट ऑल द एजेंसीज, लेकिन इसमें लॉ एंड ऑर्डर जो स्टेट सब्जेक्ट है, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर के साथ कॉन्फ्रंटेशन होता है. कि आपने देखा बीएसएफ हमारा उधर में बहुत सारे गोली चला दिया. 3-4 दिन पहले भी गोली में 3 गरीब जनता को मौत हुआ कुछ बिहार डिस्ट्रिक्ट में. इसका पहले भी बहुत सारे मौत हुआ. अगर आपको बॉर्डर संभालने के लिए बॉर्डर को सिक्योरिटी का जो काम है उसको करने दो. अगर स्टेट से ज्यादा मदद आपने मांगने चाहते हैं तो स्टेट आपको मदद करने के लिए देश का हित में तैयार है. देखिए सेंट्रल स्टेट रिलेशन, फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर, पॉलिटिकली आपका साथ हम लोग को जो भी डिफरेंस है, पॉलिटिकली डिफरेंसेस रहेगा ही. पॉलिटिकल डिफरेंस, आपका पार्टी का पॉलिटिकल आइडियोलॉजी अलग है, हमारा पार्टी का पॉलिटिकल आइडियोलॉजी अलग है. लेकिन ऐसा ना हो कि हमारा स्टेट सेंटर का रिलेशन इसमें कोई असर पड़े.
All right, we have just 4 months to go for the big UP elections and alliances are being made where the opposition is concerned. If yesterday there were indications of an alliance with Samajwadi Party and RLD in Uttar Pradesh, the SP now seems to be set on finalizing a deal with the Aam Aadmi Party. AAP Sanjay Singh met with Mulayam Singh and Akhilesh today in Lucknow and it looks like talks are officially underway between two parties to join hands. Amidst this, Asauddin Owaisi could also join hands with Akhilesh. Samajwadi Party ally SBSP chief OP Rajbhar has said that the alliance is open to Owaisi's entry with one condition, that he's okay with contesting just 10 seats, not 100, as the AIMIM is claiming. But questions loom whether this alliance can work out at all. The SP is on an alliance spree, the RLD, SBSP on board. Also, just a short while back, the Apna Dal Krishna faction is also with the Samajwadi Party, the Krishna Patel faction.
सीट शेयरिंग या गठबंधन को लेके अंतिम जब कोई बातचीत होगी तो निश्चित रूप से उसके बारे में आपको जानकारी देंगे. लेकिन ये जरूर है कि एक नई शुरुआत बातचीत की हुई है. फिर से प्राथमिकता ये है कि उत्तर प्रदेश से भारतीय जनता पार्टी का शासन आदित्यनाथ जी का कुशासन, जिसकी वजह से आज रोजगार खत्म हो गया, जिसकी वजह से आज किसान त्राहि त्राहि कर रहा है, जिसकी वजह से आज अस्पतालों की व्यवस्था बदतर है। हर स्तर पे जो आज उत्तर प्रदेश पीछे गया है, इस शासन को हटाना है।
समाजवादी पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष आदरणीय अखिलेश यादव जी लगातार इस प्रयास में हैं कि उत्तर प्रदेश में जो छोटे दल हैं, जो डॉक्टर लोहिया, डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर की विचारधारा को आगे ले जाना चाहते हैं, जो किसानों की लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं, कमजोर, पिछड़े, दलित, बेरोजगारों की आवाज उठा रहे हैं, वो सब लोग एक मंच पे आए और उत्तर प्रदेश से भारतीय जनता पार्टी का सफाया करें।
अच्छा, वैसे हम साथ आएंगे कि नहीं? बहुत देर हो गई। बहुत देर
हम देखिए, हमारा प्रयास है, जो लोग बीजेपी को शिकस्त देना चाहते हैं, वो 100 सीट का सपना ना देखें, वो 10 सीट लड़ें। 100 सीट कौन देगा इस धरती पर?
Viewers, in a major breakthrough in the fight for the late Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Jayalalitha's property, a big bungalow at Pose Garden, the Madras High Court today stepped in. The Madras High Court has set aside the decision by the previous AIDMK government to acquire Jayalalitha's Veda Nilayam residence in Pose Garden, Chennai. The High Court has ordered to hand over the property over to Deepa and Deepak, who are the niece and nephew of Jayalalitha, in 3 weeks' time. The AIDMK government had earlier proposed to convert the Veda Nilayam house at Pose Garden in Chennai into a memorial for Amma, while Jayalalitha's legal heirs, Deepa and Deepak, had challenged the takeover. The court also questioned why should there be 2 memorials for the former late CM. Both the nephew and the niece have welcomed the decision.
Even after the court had declared Deepak and Deepa as legal heirs, the government did not hear them, or government did not give any opportunity for them to defend the proceedings. And therefore, there are procedural lapses is one finding by the Honorable Judge. The other aspect is the word public purpose is not defined under the new Land Acquisition Act. So therefore, this would not, creation of a memorial will not come within the ambit of public purpose. There's a direction given to the Honorable District Collector to hand over the keys to the petitioners within 3 weeks.
The Madras High Court today has quashed the former AIADMK government's order to acquire Veda Nilayam, former Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha's residence, to convert it into a memorial. Today, the Madras High Court has said that Deepa and Deepak Jaikumar, the niece and nephew of former Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha, are the legal heirs of the property, and it has to be handed over to them in the next 3 weeks. The lawyer of Deepa and Deepak Jaikumar have said that this is a huge victory for them. This was a legal battle for the property Veda Nilayam, which was former Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha's, and now, after almost 2+ years of battle, the property has finally been given to Deepa and Deepak, and it will be handed over to them within the next 3 weeks. And as far as the compensation that the state government had given in the civil court for the property, that will be reversed to the government, is what the Madras High Court has now stated. With camera person Daniel from the Madras High Court in Chennai, this is Akshana for India Today.
All right, viewers, so my colleague Shiv spoke to the niece of Jayalalitha, Deepa. Listen in.
Deepa Jaikumar, the niece of Jayalalitha, is with me on the phone line. She is the legal heir of the former Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, and she joins me first and exclusive here on India Today. Deepa, first of all, congratulations on winning a long-fought case against the erstwhile Tamil Nadu government. Veda Nilayam, the Madras High Court has ruled, must be passed on to Jayalalitha's legal heirs, that is you and Deepak Jaikumar. Your first comments.
Says I'm very happy with the judgment, and we feel that justice has prevailed.
Were you expecting things to go in your favor, because the AIADMK government had wanted to convert Veda Nilayam into a memorial for Jayalalitha?
No, not exactly. I wouldn't say that. I was not expecting anything to go in my favor. But basically what I would expect is things to, go in accordance with law. And in that sense, I think we are quite happy with whatever happened today.
Madras High Court judge has basically said that Jayalalitha already has a huge memorial on Marina Beach. Where is the need for another memorial to her? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do, because that's what the court has opinion that way, and I think that's quite right, and it's quite sad that there is no need to have two museums.
May I ask?
Going to create, in my view, it's only going to create a lot of confusion rather than, create anything presentable. It's only going to create a lot of confusion.
All right, viewers, let's shift focus right now to Karnataka. The Congress has had many instances which has led to rather embarrassing situations created for its top leaders. This time around, both the former Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and big Congress leader D.K. Shivakumar have found themselves in a massive spot of bother. Why? Find out more.
Yet another hot mic moment for the Karnataka Congress, causing fresh embarrassment for the grand old party. Two Congress biggies, former Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and Karnataka Congress Chief D.K. Shivakumar, caught on camera debating if the unifier of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, deserves a place on the Congress stage. The embarrassing mic leak dates back to October the 31st. At an event for Indira Gandhi's death anniversary, which was also Sardar Patel's birthday. On noticing just Indira Gandhi's photo on the dais, Siddaramaiah is heard asking D.K. Shivakumar why Sardar Patel's photo is missing. Shivakumar responds saying it is not Congress culture to display photos of Sardar Patel, and anyway the event is about Indira Gandhi. So Siddaramaiah is then caught on camera cautioning D.K. Shivakumar, saying that the insult to Sardar Patel could be used by the BJP to target the Congress, advising him to make amends by quickly adding Sardar Patel's photograph. Shivakumar is then heard agreeing to the proposal. Within seconds, a portrait of Vallabhbhai Patel is up on the dais and placed alongside Indira Gandhi's photo.
ವಲ್ಲಭಾಯ್ ಪಟೇಲ್ ಇವತ್ತು ಜನ್ಮದಿನ ಸರ್, ಅದು ಇದು ದಿವಸ ಅದು ಜನ್ಮ ಎರಡು ಫೋಟೋ ಯಾವಾಗಿಟ್ಟಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಇವತ್ತು ಇದೆ, ಇದು ದಿವಸ, ಅದು ಜನ್ಮದಿನ. ಯಾವತ್ತು ಫೋಟೋ ಇಡಲ್ಲ ನಾವು. ಬಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಿ ಜೆ ಪಿಯವರು ದೇ ಟೇಕ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್. ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದವರು ನಮ್ಮದು ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಇಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ.
The BJP, as you might expect, has come out all guns blazing in the legacy war over Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, accusing the Congress of insulting Sardar, ignoring him at the cost of Indira Gandhi, and adding his photograph as an afterthought.
These hot mic moments are serving a very important purpose for the people of India to realize what kind of establishment the Congress party is and what kind of people are leaders within that Congress party.
The Congress party has a tradition of celebrating and eulogizing only those who belong to the Nehru-Gandhi Parivar. In fact, they want to wish away all other freedom fighters because it is inconvenient to their politics.
D.K. Shivakumar defended his action by claiming that it is the BJP which insults Sardar Patel.
BJP should understand, in no offices they celebrate Vallabhbhai Patel's birth anniversary. It is the Congress party which does. Let them show in Karnataka BJP whether they have celebrated Vallabhbhai Patel's birthday. Since he is a Congress president, since he is an Iron Man, since he banned BJP, RSS, they never do it.
Days ago, two Congress leaders were caught on camera calling Shivakumar a drunkard who's good at accepting bribes. Hot mics, it appears, are definitely not the Congress's cup of tea.
The Congress has now hit back at BJP, asking questions that does BJP have photographs of Indira Gandhi and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in their party offices? Do they celebrate these leaders? And what have they done for the legacy of these leaders? And that's the question that the Congress is posing. And they say that BJP is doing petty politics in the name of Vallabhbhai Patel. Nagarjun Dwarkanath for India Today.
This is a big one, viewers. India Today has tracked down runaway cop Parambir Singh in Chandigarh. To give our viewers perspective on the case, Parambir Singh, who is missing now in the Hafta Gate scam in Maharashtra, confirmed to India Today that he is in Chandigarh and will be joining investigations in Mumbai soon. There are 5 cases registered against Parambir Singh in various police stations of Thane and Mumbai. Parambir Singh has not been seen in public for the last 6 months, and 3 non-bailable warrants have been issued against him. The Supreme Court has already granted interim protection from arrest to Parambir on the conditions of joining investigations in the extortion case. Parambir is accused of extorting money from businessmen, cheating, criminal breach of trust by a public servant. All right, viewers, now let's quickly simplify all the heat that is building up around crypto regulations. The government all set to pass a cryptocurrency bill in the coming Parliament winter session. Modi-led government will table cryptocurrencies and regulation of official digital currency bill in the upcoming winter session. The aim is to regulate cryptocurrency in the country with some exceptions to promote the technology and its applications. This bill also seeks to facilitate a framework for creating of official digital currency that will be issued by the Reserve Bank of India. The move by the centre comes in the backdrop of worries that such currencies are being used to deceive investors with false claims and fund terrorist activities. Ahead of the sweeping curbs by the centre, Indian crypto exchanges are witnessing a massive fall in cryptocurrency values. Let's listen in now to what the Prime Minister and the RBI Governor said on cryptocurrencies.
Take cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, for example. It is important that all democratic nations work together on this and ensure it does not end up in wrong hands, which can spoil our youth.
Discussion which is now taking place in the public domain, I think the discussions there is a need for much deeper discussion. When the central bank says that we have serious concerns from the point of view of macroeconomic and financial stability, there are deeper issues involved. There are far deeper issues involved which form part of this, what I have been saying, macroeconomic and financial stability. I am yet to see serious, well-informed discussion in the public space on these issues. The discussions are that, it's a new technology, we should capitalize on it. And I have said it earlier, this technology is more than 10 years old. The blockchain technology is nothing new. It did not come yesterday. It has been there for 10 years. The technology, I have said this before, the technology can grow and will grow without cryptocurrencies or whatever name you use to describe cryptocurrencies. So at this point, I would only like to say that when the Reserve Bank of India, as the central bank of the country, which is entrusted with the responsibility of maintaining financial stability, when the Reserve Bank, after due internal deliberation, says that there are serious concerns on macroeconomic and financial stability, there are deeper issues which need much deeper discussion, much more well-informed discussion.
Based on the back of that, I'm going to go into a quick commercial break. You to stay tuned. On the other side is our fact check segment. Welcome back. You're watching a fact check segment where we bust certain claims masquerading to be facts on social media platforms and WhatsApp groups. Now, there's this claim in the form of a video that you might have seen on various WhatsApp groups and social media platforms, a video of what was said to be the Kashi Vishwanath temple after renovation. It's incorrect. This actual video that is going with the name of the Kashi Vishwanath temple is actually of the Somnath temple in Gujarat. Nothing to do with Varanasi, nothing to do with the Kashi Vishwanath temple. With that quick fact check, it's time for me to go into a quick break, but you do stay tuned, because on the other side, viewers, it's To The Point with me.